Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. This is Coach Sherry, Chaplain Sherry, your community pastor Sherry. This is Dr. Sherry. This is Sherry from the 800 block of Mooney Avenue. Welcome tonight. Welcome tonight to this um, pop up. I am technically on a sabbatical as far as doing lives, but I think that is this topic is very important. It's important to me, and I often believe that things that I may be struggling with, that it goes beyond me. So, welcome tonight to this segment of Let's Talk About Mother's Day Worship. Let's talk about Mother's Day worship, and let's talk about worship um, Mother's Day sermons. So, welcome tonight. As you are coming in, would you please greet me and just say hello and let me know who you are, and please interact when you come in. Would you like, share, and tag with to bring other people into this space? Tonight we are talking about Mother's Day's sermons and Mother's Day worship and the whole complexities of Mother's Day. So I'm excited to be with you tonight, and I pray that you will find value in this space. And as you are finding value in this space, that you will invite others to come along to let's get into this conversation, the complexities of Mother's Day. And we know that Mother's Day is going to be Sunday. It's going to be Sunday. It is the one holiday that we know is always at the same time. Welcome, Marquita. So glad that you are with us. Welcome, Mr. Foster. So glad that you are here. Tonight we're talking about the complexities of Mother's Day, the complexities of this time that we set apart, or it has been set apart, that we honor mothers, and a day that started out with good intentions has morphed into something that is filled of complexities. How do you navigate? How do you navigate um, the intentions of the day to honor our mothers, while at the same time dealing with all of the things that go along with it? So that's what I want to talk to us about tonight. But first I want to look at some of the history surrounding this day. Some of the history surrounding the day. So we know that it started in the early 20th century in the United States by a woman named Anna Jarvis. And she really pushed for this day to honor her mother, to memorialize her mother who had died, but also to advocate for a day to honor all mothers. To honor all mothers. It was created to honor the mother-child relationship and to reflect the American values at that time around, it says, World War One and the progressive era. It served to boost the morale and to express national loyalty, celebrating traditional roles within the family and society. So we know back then the traditional roles were the father, the mother, and the children, right? The father, the mother, and the children. And so it was designed to uphold, really, to uphold the American values that really center The father, the husband is as the top, the wife, the mother, and then the children. And so this day was designed to celebrate or honor the mother and the child relationship. And we know that this day has evolved and it is overwhelmingly commercialized. I do not believe that Anna Jarvis would know this day if she were to be here today, because it is a commercial holiday that more flowers are sold. It's kind of like neck and neck with Valentine's Day when it comes to flowers, when it comes to roses, when it comes to gifts this time. Now, please understand, I am not knocking Mother's Day. I am blessed to have my mom with me, Margaret Brown. I honor her tonight. But I also know that this day can be triggering. This day can be triggering. Yes, Pastor Justin, it is a Hallmark holiday. It is a Hallmark holiday. People will bombard the stores, right? You can hardly get flowers delivered if you haven't already done that. It is a commercialized holiday. And I want us to understand, it is a holiday and not a holy day. I need to say that. It is a holiday and it is not a holy day. Which brings up, before we even talk about the complexities and the triggers, how should our churches recognize this day? Should it be a full service all about Mother's Day, or should it just be a segment and then you move on with the worship? I'm not here to suggest either way, but what I want us to do, as I posted today, is that if you are preaching, if you are teaching Mother's Day, Sunday, that you exegete your congregation as well as you exegete that text. What do I mean? Know who is in your congregation. Yes, you will have people that that will come that don't usually come to church, are usually not attenders. They will be there with their mothers. Because mothers dream of, having all their children, her children with her, and I have to make that decision my own self. Do I want to go to church with my mom, on that day, and then if I do, I need to take an assessment. What is that going to do for me? Can I sit those 2 hours with her? And people may say, well, Sherry, why should this day be a triggering day for you? Because your mom is with you. Well, if you just keep on, if you stay with me tonight, we're going to get to that. And so if you are preaching and teaching, you need to know who you in your congregation. On a good Sunday with no holiday, no special events, the day is going to be, the church is going to be filled with mostly women. At least 70% of the congregation will be women on any Sunday, right? And then if you start parceling out that, a good majority will be single women, and it will be a good majority of that will be single mothers or mothers who are raising, or women who are raising their children alone. Not to even mention all the other ways or intersections that go along with that. So as we are preparing those sermons, as we are preparing those lessons and all of those things, whatever your role is, know the congregation, know who is sitting in the congregation, and where they may sit in the scheme of this day. Because as much as we may want to say Happy Mother's Day, right? And I'll just be honest, I don't have children, right? I'm unable to have children. And so I think it was yesterday, and people just naturally do it because they see woman, they see you must be a mother, right? Because for some people, for the woman, the fullness of who she is, for many people, is tied to whether or not she is able to bear children. And so people just out of the blue say Happy Mother's Day. They see that you're a woman, they say Happy Mother's Day. And I got the first one on yesterday. And I got to admit that it began to raise the anxiety of the day, even for me. Right? And so if you've been following me at any time, you already know I'm going to call a thing a thing. And so those of you who are already with me, what would you want that Sunday if you go to worship? And then let's not talk about all of the, back then they used to have these prizes or gifts that they had for mothers with the most children. Then there was a fight about, well, do the children have to be present or just because you have the children, right? And then the mother who is the youngest mother, the oldest mother, those who has young, the youngest baby, right? But then the fight become, well, should you be only the married women, the married mothers were eligible for the to participate in this activity, and I cannot be the only one who remembers this kind of carrying on. I cannot. So now we're making distinction between the married mothers and the single mothers, right? Is the mother who is not married less a mother? So that became just kind of like something that it didn't need to be. And I don't know if churches still do that, but back then it just never went well. It just never went well. So welcome everybody who has joined me tonight. I'm so glad that you are with me tonight. Marquita, Washington Carter, Devin Foster, welcome. We have Justin, we have Donna, and also Joyce. Welcome, Joyce. Glad to see you tonight. And we also have Lakeisha Bradstreet Easter. So glad to have you tonight. And of course, my brother, Garland Thompson. So did you experience anything like that? Or am I the oldest person in the room who remembers when they had certificates or flowers or whatever it was, right? And then you have the people who only came to church for that particular day, and this one person with one family would get the prizes all the time because she had the most children. Maybe y'all churches were too city to do such carrying on. So I won't belabor that. But if at times it became a bit much. And so my question is, how much of the day, how much, yes, Devin, flowers and mother of the year. Now, everybody would get a rose. Everybody would get a rose, right? And they would just automatically give every woman, and I don't know whether they had children or not, and I'm not sure how that didn't always make me feel warm and fuzzy, because for me it felt like I was given a consolation prize. Now, those are my feelings, and I'm not here to say that we are not to honor our mothers. But if you do it every day, you don't have to make a spectacle on that particular day. And so my goal tonight is to help us to think about and to think through all the complexities of that day, all of the complexities of the day, because indeed the day can be triggering. It can be triggering. And so there are, and we'll talk about each one of these, what brings about this, the complexities. It's loss, estrangement, infertility, inclusion, and grief. All of them could be lumped into these 5 things: loss, estrangement, infertility, exclusion, and also grief. These are the 5 things that may present problems for people who may be in the congregation, on that Sunday. So we really need to understand that that this is not a holy day, it is a holiday. In fact, it is a secular holiday, and many people, when we come to Christmas and Easter and all of that, we make a big deal out, well, those are pagan holidays, right? People make it, those are pagan holidays. But then we go all out with Mother's Day and Father's Day and all of the other days that are not holy days, but are holidays. So there will be people in the congregation who will experience one of these, even if their mothers are sitting on the side of them, right? My mother will be on the side of me, but I guarantee you at least 2 of these will are problems for me. Yes, Donna, you're exactly right. Loss occurs on Mother's Day in so many areas. Loss of mom, children, miscarriage, stillborns, all of those things. And certainly, as you said, those, I think about even in New Orleans, the mothers who have lost their children to violence. What do we say to them when we preach texts like Proverbs 31? I'm not going to get on that. We're essentially, what are we saying to women who are already overworked, and then you hold up this model that nobody can aspire to? So we're not going to talk about that tonight, but Proverbs 31, 10 through 31, the one: who can find a virtuous woman? we have used it as the standard when that text has nothing to do with what it means to be a woman. But we're not going to talk about that tonight. I want to talk about the complexities of Mother's Day that people within your congregation, people who will be there, will have experienced loss, estrangement, infertility, exclusion, and grief. So what are we talking about? Loss. Reverend Donna has mentioned some of those things. Loss, either way. Either your mom is no longer here, right? Or you yourself, a mother who has lost, whose children are no longer here through murder. There's at least one mom here. All of her children were murdered. All of them. I think about another friend in central Louisiana. 2 of her sons killed within a couple of years. What do you say? Right? Even though she has other children, even though she has grandchildren, there is something about that loss. So what do we say? We need to, whatever you are preaching and teaching, make sure that you take into account of who's in your congregation, who's out there, and how what you say can bring about harm and trauma. Thank you guys for joining me. Please like, share, tag with your circle, your clique, or your crew. I am Chaplain Sherry, Coach Sherry, your community pastor Sherry, Dr. Sherry, all those Sherrys. But tonight, yes, Mr. Foster, yes, Mother's Day can cause women to question their womanhood and even meaning, value, and purpose. And I'll tell a little bit of my story, which I am not ashamed to say. I'll talk about that a little bit later when we get to the infertility. But certainly, we need to be cognizant, and because people will have experienced loss, and not just women. There will be men there who have lost their wives, right? Who their own mothers or the people who raised them will not be there. So we need to understand who's in that congregation, exegete the congregation, ask God to show you who's in the congregation. And then, just because of the human condition, all of these types will be there because it is just a human situation. So when we deal with loss, think about those who have lost their moms, and not just through death, but also through abandonment. So that goes with the estrangement, complicated relationships, strained relationships with their mothers. It won't be a happy Mother's Day for all people. There are some relationships, mother-child relationships, that are toxic. And then to add to that, the mother-daughter relationship can be one of the most difficult relationships to navigate, especially in the black community. All of that, even though they may come to church together, they may be sitting side by side together, there will be some complications based upon strained relationships, whether it's because of a recent argument or the loss, or a long history of trauma or neglect. It doesn't matter that the mom is now 80 or 70 and the child is 50. It doesn't matter if the trauma happened when the child was at 6 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old. If it has not been dealt with, it's still right there, and anything can set it off. We need to be cognizant of that. It's common around Mother's Day to feel anger, to feel guilt because of the strained relationship, and your relationship is not a Hallmark card relationship. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? It is not a Hallmark card a relationship. It is not a feel good relationship. In fact, it is a toxic relationship. And you can't just say, well, that's your mom. You gotta you gotta love her anyway, or you gotta forgive. It's a lot of work has to take place before healing can take place. So infertility, there will be people there who are struggling with infertility. And I want to go back to what Devin said about questioning your womanhood. I know for me, that was a big thing when it was discovered that I was not going to be able to have children, that the church itself is set up for families, and it is set up for the traditional family. Remember, the father, the mother, and the children. The married father, the married mother, and the children. And so society says, the church almost says, and even when it doesn't say it, its action shows it, that when you cannot have children, the number one question people ask me, well, what's wrong with you? Why don't you have children? What's wrong with you? See? And so that itself, are they automatically, well, how many children you have? I don't have any. What? You don't have children? Right? So they automatically, perhaps without intending to, but it is just a commonality that if you are a woman, then you must be a mother. And then when you are not, then what's wrong with you? Let us refrain from asking the question. Let's refrain from asking the question, because 9 times out of 10, a person or woman who is struggling with infertility, or who is unable to have children for one reason or another, we already got our things that we're dealing with, trying to get through this day. And then to ask that question, it's a painful reminder of, if you have not worked through your stuff, you keep asking, well, what's wrong with me? And other people ask, what's wrong with you? So infertility can be a painful reminder of unfulfilled dreams, leading to feelings of sadness, failure, and isolation. Is this helping us tonight? Is this helping us tonight? I pray that it is. I think that it's important that we say this, and prayerfully it is helping somebody. Another one is exclusion. Exclusion. Those who do not think that they feel that they fit into a traditional family structures, especially our LGBTQIA plus parents, single parents, or individuals who have chosen not to have children. See, that is a whole nother, it's one thing to not be able to, it's another thing to make the choice not to. To make the choice not to. We must be cognizant of who is in the congregation. Mother's Day can reinforce the conventional ideas about motherhood and family, causing some people to have feelings of rejection and loneliness. Rejection and so within your congregation, I keep talking congregation, but wherever you may find yourself in a social gathering or whatever for Mother's Day, that we are cognizant of who may be in our midst. And we don't want to exclude anyone or cause anyone to feel that they don't fit or they don't matter, they don't have value because they do not fit into the traditional model of of motherhood. So another type of complexity, or what causes complexities for Mother's Day, is grief. Grief, those who experience some type of tragic loss due to a miscarriage, a stillbirth, or death of a child, may find Mother's Day to be difficult, causing sadness, loneliness, anger, guilt, as they mourn, as they grieve their losses. Let's watch our words. So again, I'm asking, and you can put it in the comment section, because most of us are church people here. How is Mother's Day handled at your church? The place where you worship. Is it the whole service, or is it a segment? Just a moment. Because again, I am not advocating not honoring the mothers, but what I am saying is that we need to make sure that in doing so, we don't do it in such a way that we are causing harm to our sisters and brothers who are also sitting next to us, So how is it handled at your church? So many people will buy the flowers and the cards for mothers and attend family churches, brunches, they honor their moms. But many people will spend the day in grief and envy because of that they don't have the model family. They don't have the traditional family structure. Many years, I did not go to church on Mother's Day. I did not go to church on Mother's Day because that day was not for me, right? And people didn't know what to say, so I made it easier for them. I'll just stay home, right? But you mother, but you have your mother, right? People will say, but you're missing the point. You're missing the point. So in order for me not to bring problems for other people, I would just stay home, right? So the last two Sundays since Mother's Day, since I've been closer to my mom, last year I think I got her, didn't go to church, but we came. I brought her down here to stay with me, and this Sunday I'm going to try to go. I'm gonna try to go with her. I'm gonna try to go with her, but we'll see. We'll see. So is this making any sense? Because we're kind of quiet tonight. I don't know if we still here, but anyway. Now, so these are the kinds of things that we need to be cognizant of people who are going to be in the congregation. Let's see what Reverend Donna says. I believe that the service should be a moment and included honoring women beyond biological birth, mothering. Yes, mothering is becoming the new word, mothering. Some people are even going with Mothering Day rather than Mother's Day, that will take into account all people who pour into the lives of others, pour into the lives of children, right? Yes. Thank you, Reverend Donna. Thank you for that. So now that we have what brings about these complexities of loss, estrangement, infertility, exclusion, and grief, how do we cope with the day? How do we cope with the day? Like, I told you earlier that one of the ways that I would do it was just stay home. I would not put myself out there. I would honor my own feelings because I didn't want anybody to tell me what I was feeling was not real. So the first thing of coping in this day is to feel your feelings. Don't try to dismiss what you are feeling. If you are hurting, if you are grieving, if whatever it is, feel the feeling. Don't try to avoid feeling because it's going to come out in some kind of way. It's going to come out in some kind of way. Feel the feelings. And let's not tell people to get over it. Let's not tell people the loss that they have experienced was years ago and that they should be over it. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. The second way to cope is to practice self-care, to honor your feelings and to care for self, whether it is stay in bed all day, whatever it is, going for walks, whatever it is, take care of self. Take care of your spirit. Take care of your body. Take care of your mind. Do what you have to do to get through the day. And another thing is to create new traditions. So if you've experienced the loss of your mom, of a spouse, of children, and you always went to church on those days, on Mother's Day, then don't do it. Don't go create a new tradition that day. Take a ride. One Sunday is not going to hurt you from going to church. Trust me. It is not going to you're not going to lose your salvation card if you don't go to church. Do something that's going to establish a new norm for you. Also, honor your loss. Call the name of your mom, of your child. Light a candle in their honor. Don't act as if they did not exist. Honor them. Honor their memory in a way that is meaningful to you, whether it is creating a memory box or collage of photos, some kind of memento to say that this person lived and impacted my life, right? So try to don't try to not say their name or not look at their pictures. Honor that loss, because that person matters to you. The second thing is find support. Find support. Make sure you have a community that is strong enough to hold you up at this time. You don't have to necessarily be alone. You can, if you have the right community that is going to be life-giving, or therapy. But do something for support. Another thing is set boundaries. Set boundaries. If you are feeling triggered by television shows, the Hallmark Channel, don't watch it. Don't allow it being watched in your home. Set your boundary. If you have a toxic relationship with your mom, set a boundary. You don't have to, just because it is the person who birthed you, you don't have to put yourself in a position for further harm. Set a boundary. Take a break from social media if you need to, because that will be a day when people will be showing off or, talking about the great things and the relationships that they have and showing all their gifts and A, B, and C. Listen, if it is going to be a problem, stay off of social media, because you are protecting your mind. You are protecting your spirit. Set a boundary, because your well-being comes first. Also, and this goes to what Reverend Donna had mentioned, that motherhood is not just about biological motherhood. There is no rule that says that Mother's Day is about biological motherhood or even motherhood at all. Celebrate your nurturing qualities. Celebrate your nurturing qualities. Your nurturing qualities. Your caregiving nature. Celebrate everything you do, like caring, whether it's caring for pets, right? Supporting your nieces and your nephews, volunteering, or simply being there for friends and family and their children. But do the thing that is not going to cause you undue stress. And then the final thing is to distract yourself. So plan ahead if you know that Mother's Day will be difficult for you, right? Set yourself on a vacation to something to distract yourself. Whether it is immersing yourself with a good book, going to the movie, something that will take your mind off of the activities surrounding Mother's Day. And so these are things that I wanted to bring to us tonight as we are looking toward Mother's Day, that we care for ourselves, and that we also offer grace to others, that this day may not be a good day for them. That's all I have. I just thought it was important that I do this. This is a part of the work that I do as a chaplain, but also as a woman who is triggered by Mother's Day and its complexities, even while having my mother here. Listen, that's all I have for y'all. May all be well with your